Okay. Cool. So, normally I would have a PowerPoint for this, but I don't because I'm really bad at procrastinating. However, I've done this at Anime Blues and I did it without a PowerPoint and it went over okay-ish. Got done in like 30 minutes. So, we'll just wing this. So bear with me. So this is Cosplay 101, posing for photography. So basically, it's not about being a poser, it's how to pose. I'm very sleep deprived right now, I'm so sorry. Come on in if you want. Have a seat, we're all friends here. If not, well, we're about to be. Maybe. Depends on how much I like y'all, I'm just kidding. So, does anyone have anything specific they want to learn, or do you just want me to just jump right in? What up?
Lighting.
Lighting? Okay. Okay, cool. I can kind of cover that a little bit. So, lighting is very important. Dang, I wish I had pictures for this. You might have to see me later so I can show you examples. But, lighting, if it's for a portrait, you want to make sure that the face is well lit, unless you're doing something dramatic. So if you wanted to do like a half shadow, you want to make sure that there's like literally just a half shadow. One key is to find the triangle. So your cheeks kind of like, say there's a light right here. If you have it at the right angle, you can see kind of like a triangle on the other side of the cheek. That's kind of a more well-lit face. I'm trying to remember my lighting one. So a little bit about me. My name is Rachel, or Sparrow Moose is my artist name. I went to school for an art degree at Nashville State Community College. I did not finish. I totally dropped out because it was expensive. I mean, don't get me wrong. Do you blame me? No. I did, however, take several photography classes. I don't know why I'm trying to like swallow the mic. I'm sorry. I did take several photography classes, mostly intro to photography, a couple of Photoshop classes, and also lighting 101. So I'm trying to like remember all the basics from that while being sleep deprived. Google is your best friend also. Just like Google and Pinterest, because Pinterest has pictures. Because to do a lot of refresher research for my panel, I totally went on Pinterest and like searched posing, models, photography, stuff like that, and there's a lot of useful information on there. So if I confuse you at all today, feel free to check out Pinterest or Google, and they will hopefully guide you in a better direction, but I will try to help you as well. I've been a photographer for roughly 3 years now, give or take. Like, seriously, it's mostly a hobby for me, but I occasionally earn money off of it, and that's a lot of fun. So lighting. You can do a lot with just one light, but you can also do a lot with 2 lights. Flashes can be your best friend, as long as it's not on the one on the camera. The key to flash photography is basically don't aim it directly at your subject, because then it washes them completely out. Instead, try to bounce the light off of something else. There's little tools for that. There's, if I can even remember what they're called, might just be called a bouncer. A light reflector. See, I'm here, I promise. So if you take like a reflector of some variety, you can either have it maybe below the face, like down here where my hand would be, and then bounce the flash into that, and then it'll bounce up onto their face. It's a lot of like geometry that you can't see. Kind of like playing pool. So angles are very important. The further away your light is, the more of a shadow and the wider spread your light is going to be. Or no, smaller your light is going to be. The closer, the brighter. So, if you have like one model light or something like that, just play around with distance. Sorry, I've been chugging this Monster and I'm like trying not to burp into the mic. I'm so sorry. So distance, angles. So like, if the camera is like right in front of me, you'll want to have maybe a a still light right here, and then you could do like a flash bouncing off of a reflector onto here, and you get a nice full light. So, if you're wanting to do kind of like a silhouette, so a light behind you, and you're just getting like a shape, tip for photographers, look for the eyelashes on the other side. So, camera here, have me turn maybe like a little bit this way. You get a nice silhouette if you see these eyelashes. It's just a nice little, you want to focus on that eyelash too. So always focus on the eyes. The eyes are the windows to the soul, therefore creating a more interesting picture sometimes. Also, rule of thirds are your best friend. Rule of thirds is basically like a tic-tac-toe board that doesn't actually exist. The rules, instead of having it in like your subject in the direct center, try having them off to the side instead. Or if you want them in the center, try having a lot of headroom, which is the space above the head. Or maybe a lot of like foreground instead. Excuse me. So posing, which this panel is supposed to be about, there are several ways to get interesting photos just by posing a body. You don't always have to smile, but it can be fun if you do. It's fun if you make things really big. You want to act, you want to be like, hi, I'm very happy and energetic. So I'm like posing out. I'm open, I'm very welcoming. If I want to be more soft and brooding, or whatever, angsty, emo, whatever. Close off, close the arms, cross. S shapes are really nice. So, hand on the hip, maybe, can y'all hear me? Maybe pop your leg like this, lean either backwards, forwards, hip out. You want to be very dramatic with your gestures because the camera's not going to pick up small things. So like if you were to do just kind of like a small smile, can you see this? No. So if you want to be somebody like really happy, like say Naruto, be like, hey! You know, very happy, very open, very big. Somebody give me an emotion. Angry. Howdy, very furrow your eyebrows, make it dramatic. So you're basically acting, but in still form instead of moving. Facial expressions are fun. It's fun to sit in the mirror and just kind of like make faces at yourself. Or get a friend and just like make faces at each other. You'll have a good laugh. Guaranteed. Sometimes maybe you feel like your arm's a little too big, or like you get a really awful angle and it looks like your arm's kind of like fat, even though it's probably not. A good way to fix that is just simply moving your arm out and just let it curve. You can also frame your face with your arms. Just, hey, how's it going? Just play with your arms, play with your body. What can you do with your body that may be uncomfortable? If it's uncomfortable, you're probably doing something cool. However, hope that they get the shot right away, otherwise you're going to be stuck in that position for a long time. questions.
What's your go-to pose?
My go-to pose. So for cosplay, it kind of depends on what character I'm doing. So usually I think about the character and kind of like a generic pose for them. Say it's, give me a character, any character. Naruto? Okay, so he goes, believe it! Hey! Just play with that. You got a headband? Hey! Goggles, glasses. You know,
But
play
you
with it.
typically stand with your feet like that?
I tend to typically stand with my feet. Stand with my feet wide apart, just because it's like natural for me. Say if I were doing Sasuke or like some angsty emo character, I might keep them more together, more refined, because I'm more like, I don't care. I'm trying to put a wall against the world. I don't want to let anyone in. Because it's all about body language. So what you can do with your body can say a lot. And that goes for like everyday too. You can convey a lot in person as well. Like, he's pretty relaxed, he's chill. He's very like, hey, how's it going? You're kind of closed off, but it's also very like normal posture for a girl to sit with her legs crossed. She's very chill. She's like, hey world, how's it going? What up, dog? Yeah. She got, yeah, see? It's a lot, but you can say.
Are there certain poses that I'd avoid as a thinner person, or my body would avoid as a larger person?
Okay. As anyone of any size, anything straight on is gonna make you look bigger. Just is. So you might want to turn like this. You can turn your body one way, but still face forward at the same time. So right now, my feet are facing right this way. They're pointing that way. But my torso is pointing this way. So you can do like that. This. As long as you're like kind of a 3/4 angle to the camera, you're gonna look a lot thinner, no matter what size you are. And that's very helpful. If you're tall or short. Angles, again, can help. Sometimes you think lower angles might be like the worst thing in the world, because you might get that double chin. Trick, stick your chin out. In all photos, always stick your chin out. Especially if they're facing you head on, they're not going to be able to tell that you're going like this. So you stick your chin out, because it gives you more of a jawline. There's more of a space, more of a shadow, it makes you look more defined. It's a good tip for like everyone. Selfies. I don't have a what up? Low angles also will make you appear taller. So if you're short, have the photographer take angles from down there. You get a lot, it also creates more of a sense of dominance, more of superiority, like, I'm in charge here, what up? If you are very tall like I am, or just in general, and you want to appear shorter, maybe you're cosplaying a Shota character or something like that, angles from up top. They can't tell how tall you actually are. You'll appear shorter, kind of, if you're like looking up, maybe open your eyes a little bit wider. You look more submissive, more naive, kind of, more innocent. Make sense? I don't think we're forgetting anything. Covered S shapes, rule of thirds. Leading lines is another rule of photography. So say you have like a sword of some sort. A cool photo I like to do a lot with any of my models that have like props, really of any kind. You can also do it just with your hands. Just stick it out in front of you, like this, a little bit facing downwards so we get to see your face. Have the camera like right down here. Your hand will be blurred, or whatever the tip will be blurred, but it'll lead you up to your face. It's called a leading line. I like to try to use examples around the room, but I'm not really. For example, you can also use shapes too. So like these three chairs, if I were like the photographer right here, these three chairs lead up to you. Hi. objects. Depth of field, basically you want a foreground, a middle ground, and a background. Typically, you want your main subject to be in the middle ground. You want something kind of in front of them, kind of giving them a little bit of depth between the two objects, and then a background of some sort. It doesn't have to be in focus. As long as your subject is in focus, that's all that matters. Usually, unless you're trying to go for something creative. It's okay to break the rules if you know the rules. That's why they're made. Any other questions? Yeah?
Depth of field description. So if you're taking a picture of somebody, say, on this wall, how would you create that field?
Okay, so for example, pretty easy again. Y'all too. So this wall is the background. You can have these chairs as the foreground. Or you could place some sort of object. It's not going to be in focus, so it doesn't really matter what it is. But, like, say, this Totoro. If you were right here with your camera, if you see her face through the ears,
Okay.
it's kind of like a frame,
Okay.
too.
That makes sense.
Totoro's going to be out of focus, but it's going to create an interesting kind of object in front of her. That she's there, and then there's a nice background behind her. If there's a busy background, like say in the convention halls or whatever, and you want to get like maybe a close-up photo of somebody, the closer you are, the background will get kind of more blurred as long as you focus on your subject. Blurring out the background gets rid of the busy background. Also just cropping in. That way you don't see most of the random extras behind. Does anybody have anything else they'd like to know about photography in general? Maybe? Did I?
Yeah.
Sweet. What was it, out of curiosity?
It was like a little thirds.
Little thirds? Yeah. Yeah, it's okay to break the rule sometimes. Say you want your subject in the middle, create like a frame around them. Just like, say there's like an arch or something, or like that doorway, that's technically an arch. Have the person directly in the center of it, like right under the exit sign. That's an example of what's okay.
Like usually when I'm taking photos, and I do something like that the feel where it's like blurring out either the background. It's usually just I never think about the foreground or like the middle. I usually see it as two
Playing with depth of field can be a lot of fun, especially when you start thinking about it, because it adds kind of more of an effect to your photos. It makes them a little bit more interesting, a little bit more depth. Symmetry is good if you want to break rule of thirds by having your subject in the middle. As long as it's the same or even asymmetrical to some variety, you'll get something interesting.
How do you pose your hands? Like, I have a bad problem with
I think of Barbie dolls. Usually, if I'm doing if I'm a female character, because I do both gender cosplays, whatever you want. When I'm a girl character, I typically think of a Barbie doll or a ballerina. I like to pose my hands very dainty, so like kind of like angled, very soft, not like completely outright, not completely clenched either, just kind of relaxed. You want to be very relaxed unless you're in some sort of situation in your pose where you're trying to, like it's supposed to seem intense or something. If I'm a dude, I typically just kind of like hide my hands like in my pockets or I just kind of like more close together. So like if I'm doing like this, so I just can't kind of keep them like together, like not really posing them. However, if it was a girl, I'd do maybe something like this.
could you keep it on the side?
Yeah, you don't want to be
Same with posing up front, you don't want it.
unless you're doing something like, oh my goodness. That's like the only thing I can think of that you would, because you want to see your face, right? Unless you're wearing a mask, but then you might want to see the detail work on the mask or something like that. Focus on different things. It doesn't have to always be the person. If it's a cosplay and they got really cool details, focus on one of the details. Especially if they put a lot of work into it. I'd appreciate that. I mean, don't make that like the complete photo shoot, just like the one piece. That might be a little weird. But, I mean, like, play with it. Get like detailed shots or, you know, have fun. Have fun, like, away from the model, like, have them in the distance maybe. Not too far if you want them into the photo. Or close up. Just play around with it. That's what art is. Just playing around. Photography is very much art. Thank you for coming, yeah. I'll be in the artist alley if you need to ask me any more questions.
Okay, thank you.
It is 3:24. We still have
Posing with multiple people.
multiple people. Good question. So, if you have multiple people, think about the relationship between the characters. Can you create a scenario? Naruto and Sasuke, they're kind of like friendly rivals. So, battle poses. Or just like very back-to-back angry, angsty faces, you know. Think about the relationship between the characters and what you can do with it. Act out a scene. But like, still scenes. Have fun, you know. Does that make sense? If you're wanting to do more of like a still portrait kind of family style, then that's boring. Avoid that. Unless it's like a family. Then just Google a reference. Make sense? It's okay to Google poses for reference, by the way. If you're like in the middle of a shoot and be like, I don't know how to pose. Let's Google this character and then just mimic that if you can. Some things are like ridiculous and I don't recommend unless, you know, like Yuri on Ice, that's like ballet plus ice skating. You're just like, hey. If you can do hey, then do hey, but don't hurt your hay. Yes.
I'd be curious to hear your thoughts on like from both sides, the photographer and the model, manipulating light to give different effects on the characters, like silhouette, shadow.
Yeah.
You know, more light in the face, maybe shadow in different areas, stuff like that.
Good question. Okay, so you have to think about your character. Kind of like the key thing is thinking about your character if it's for cosplay. So if it's kind of a more darker villainous character, it's okay to play, like, a thing I like to play with is fill, light, and colors. So if you, cheap and easy way to do this, if you find those like clear file folder dividers that are like plastic and stick it over a flash, like tape it or something, or even like a colored balloon, the flash will emit that color of light. So playing with lighting can be really cool, especially because colors have different meanings. So if it's like a queen of evil, like I think Maleficent, her colors are typically, you see black obviously, but like you see purple and green, those are kind of evil colors, especially if it's like a darker shade. So if you had like green in the background, as well as like fill light and just like highlighting her face, maybe like a lower light to kind of like give her a dramatic look. That way it looks more sinister, sort of. If it's like a happy-go-lucky girly character who's maybe like Madoka Magica or something, but like not the dark part of Madoka Magica, you know, like the beginning where it's not so scary. Go on like pink, softer colors, just like light and like happy. So like a soft pink maybe, a yellow, like a soft yellow, softer colors. Evil, darker, harsher colors maybe. Playing around with it helps a lot. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
More or less? Okay. If I think of anything else, I'll say it, I guess. Yeah.
Is there some major like don'ts of posing someone or people posing like a certain? Well, I know you said the front on one.
Definitely straight on. That's like the main one. Huh?
I said if you said them all already, and I
It's okay. If I did, I probably forgot. Kidding. Definitely straight on is generally a huge no-no because it's very boring and makes you look blind. Sometimes it's okay, but just like standing, like not doing anything is a huge no. Because it's not interesting. You want to be interesting, right? Interesting photos, tell a story, stuff like that.
You keep bringing up not blocking the face.
Yeah, don't block the face unless it's like to send like a message. So like, there's the three monkeys, like see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. If you're doing something like that, that's sending a message that's different. So like, if I were to do this, you want to play with your eyes. Wide eyes would be like kind of scared. Sorry, I just realized you probably didn't hear that. You got wide eyes, you're kind of scared, maybe, very shocked, very closed eyes, kind of squinty. Be very seductive or very, I'm going to kill you, and I'm going to like it. Smiling with your eyes is open, but not to the point of you're shocked, but kind of like a Mona Lisa smile type of thing. So you are laughing really hard, and your eyes get really big. You're just like you're smiling with your cheeks, and then so just like. Again, play with it. I think that's like the biggest message I have to say, and I'm sorry I keep repeating it. You're gonna feel like stuck with that in your head all day. Oh.
So I guess that in your experience, well, I guess what would you say you like working with? Set or like just out like maybe like an environment like
Okay. Studio versus on location.
Yeah.
It kind of depends on what you're going for. I like both for different reasons. Of course, if I'm in the studio, I know a lot about Photoshop, so sometimes I like to manipulate my photos a little bit, make it kind of more fantastic, fantasy. Fantastical? You know what I'm going for. Or just like interesting, like very, something you wouldn't actually get in real life. But you can also do that like on location as well if you kind of know how to maneuver things. Okay. But, and like in a studio, I can also like set up my lighting how I want it. Compared to like on location, you're kind of relying on natural light and maybe like any portable flashes that you have or any portable lighting you might have. Natural light is generally the best light. The whole point of studio lighting is to mimic natural light. So like if it's storming outside, can't really shoot outside unless you're going for something like really sopping wet. However, then you can mimic the lighting you want in a studio for that very reason. That's kind of why it exists. Natural light is, of course, the best light. The clouds are kind of like a natural, what's the filter? Open it right. But it basically tones down the harshness of the sun. So you don't want to shoot on a bright sunny day because it's going to be super harsh lighting. You want it to be kind of gray outside, kind of cloudy, because then it's the perfect lighting. You got that? Yeah, you want overcast lighting. Like just after it rains is like the best time to go shoot. It really is. Yeah, so like right now outside is like perfect. The key to if you're shooting like manual or something is you always want to go a half step to a step higher, so it's a little bit brighter than what it is. That way you actually get the lighting that you want. If you have no idea what I just said, that means you probably don't shoot manual. But I can explain it later if you really want me to. That's like a whole other ballgame. Automatic shooting versus manual shooting. Both can be fun, but manual's always better because you can get what you want. Yeah. Manual is where you have to adjust the settings yourself. Shooting in auto, it'll do it for you, but it might set the settings actually wrong. Okay. Yeah, so automatic, if you're like very new to shooting with like a DSLR or something, it's good to start out with. That way you're not like frustrated trying to get the right shot because you don't know how to work your camera. Read the manual. I swear it'll help you a lot.
Just to suggest, there's also good like cap modes where you can do like aperture value or stuff like that.
Yeah.
Where it takes care of some of the stuff automatically, but
exactly. Like autofocus can be really helpful if you're like trying to shoot like sports games, or if you're like at a wedding and you're shooting like photography. I was a second shooter for a wedding once, and we had our cameras on autofocus because there's a lot of moments going on that you're trying to capture at the same time. So you're just like autofocus. That way you get the right focus, hopefully. Most of the time you will on autofocus. Manual focus can be fun as long as you remember that you're on manual focus. I've been shooting several times, like photo shoots, and I go home and I'm like, right, it was manual focus. I am not focused very well on this subject. Crap. But yeah. Yes.
I'm curious, what kind of style of shot makes the best engagement answer? What are your fans of? What kind of shots?
Okay. You can reach a different fan base depending on what you shoot more and advertise the most. Generally, you'll gain fans that like whatever you post if you just post it enough. My best advice is just shoot what you like. If you like your work, other people will generally like it as well. And that goes for like all art forms, really. You don't want to force yourself to do something you don't want to do. Like, I don't care for sports. I'm not gonna go shoot like a sports game unless I'm getting paid really well for it, because I'm gonna dread having to edit things later. However, if I'm shooting like cosplay or something like that, there's enough of like a business for it that you can like build up to and be like, hey, this cosplay was really awesome, I'm having fun editing this, I can do some cool stuff with these photos. I also like taking photos of babies. I almost said shooting babies, but that sounded really bad. Hooray, photography! But taking photos of babies just because I like babies, they're super cute. However, they can be really hard to shoot, just fair warning if you ever try to take photos of children. Once there's like a certain age, and it's like only a few, like I think it's under 8 months, they do not like to smile. No matter how hard you try to get them to smile, they're generally going to be crying instead. Get some funny photos, but not really what your client is usually wanting. But after like 8 months, sometimes you can get like smiley, happy baby photos. It really depends. Pets, I love dogs. Oh my god, I pet almost every dog I see. My boyfriend goes crazy, like if we're walking down the street and I'm like, oh my god, dog! It's like, no! I'm just like, I love shoot. I haven't shot a lot of pets. I did do a Yuri on Ice photo shoot where we had a poodle like the dog from the show. It was a lot of fun. It was a trained dog, actually, show poodle named Codebreaker, and he was like the cutest thing ever, and I need to edit those photos really bad, but you know, it had a lot of fun during the shoot, so I know I'm going to have a lot of fun editing it later whenever I get to it. I have 2 labs, so yeah.
There's some good like go-to poses when you're still nervous about posing and practicing that look interesting in that
Take a deep breath. Always take a deep breath before you shoot or do anything, really. If you're nervous about something, it's just your mind. It really is. Just jump. You have the 5-second window to just do something. Take those 5 seconds to take a deep breath and just do it. If I'm like really nervous and don't know what to do, I'll go for the generic white girl pose, or just like badass chick pose, kind of like hand on the hip, hip to the side, popping your hip out. Attitude. If it's a fighting character, just like simple boxing stance. Feet, shoulder width apart. Bend your knees a little. You don't want to buckle. You don't want to buckle your knees. Chill, relax yourself. Just if you have to do some jumping jacks or something to like get those nerves out, do it. No one's gonna judge you for it. They'll be like, all right, cool, let's do this. Sometimes, and most photographers should know this, or just like sports, you have to warm up before you get into the good stuff. That goes for photography, that goes for modeling, that goes for drawing, all sorts of stuff, including sports, of course. I've noticed, like, in the middle of my shoots, like, the photos I start to take towards the end are generally better than the ones we took at the very beginning. Sometimes we won't even use the very beginning photos. So just be like, all right, let's do some test shots. It's gonna be okay. If it's a digital camera, you can delete the photos. No problem solved. So just like do some warm-up stuff. Just like do some like basic poses, anything you want really, just to kind of like get you thinking, get you in the mood. Just be like, okay, what can I do with this? If you got my head to the side, too much, okay. As a photographer, you kind of want to help guide the model because they don't know how they look. They don't know if their wig's a mess or anything like that. So it'd be like, hey, you always want to ask before you touch somebody, regardless if it's a photo shoot or not. Be like, hey, this is kind of off. Can I adjust you a little bit this way? Or be like, hey, can you tilt your head down a little bit? Stick it out, chin out. Yeah, there you go. Now you have a job. You know, stuff like that. It's okay. The model will generally appreciate it in the end anyway, as long as you take a good shot. Pretty simple. I know I kind of deviated from your question, but, you know, it's okay to not know what you look like, because I don't know what I look like to you right now. You don't know what you look like to me right now. But I can tell you what you look like to me, and you can do the same to me. And it works out. That's why mirrors, the mirror game is a thing. What's up, how's it going? Welcome, Dimple. We're just talking about photography, kind of posing. That was the initial intent, but I'm kind of deviating into a lot of other things as well. So, if there's anything you want to know, feel free to ask. Or just stand there. It's cool. Yeah, always take a deep breath before you do anything. I know it helps me a lot. Not like, it might not cure it right away, but it'll give you like a nice little, okay, let's do this. Let's do this. Okay. How do you do it? That's how I do a lot of things. Yes.
Do you have any tips as a photographer to loosen up your model?
Breathing exercise. Maybe if it's somebody you're just like first time shooting with, just like talk to each other. Be like, hey, how's it going? Just like icebreakers. Like, have you ever done photo shoots before? Okay, maybe not that one. That's kind of rude. Because then they might get like the wrong idea. Be like, hey, so like, what's some things photographers you worked with in the past have done? Oh, this is your first time? Cool. Well, let's work together on this. You want to be very inviting. You want to be very warm and welcoming and not creepy. Creepy is the key part. I am doing a panel tomorrow on how to interact with models. At, I think it's 4 p.m. I want to say it's in the same room. Might as well plug myself in right now while I'm talking about it. But to kind of answer your question, you just want to be very like friendly, but not like overly friendly, of course, because that gets creepy. But you know, just like a casual chatting partner, like somebody you meet at the, like your server at a restaurant. you know, they don't really care about your life, but they seem like they do, and that's what matters. You go to get served. As a photographer, you're kind of like the server. This is a very like far out analogy, but I'm going with it anyway. So, because I also work as a server, ironically enough. So you'll be like, hey, how's it going? All right, cool. Like, what can we do to make you feel more comfortable? And just like present yourself in a professional manner. If they're kind of frozen stiff, be like, all right, take a deep breath with me. In, out. Maybe do it a couple times, make it seem more chill, more relaxed. Be like, all right, so let's try this. Or give me this expression. What can you do that's kind of outrageous? Okay. Cool, we're still good on time. What's just like, if anything, if it's not gonna get you like a lot of weird, crazy looks, unless you're cool with that, just be like, all right, scream for me. Just yell, just let it out, because that's a good way to get rid of nerves as well. Because then you just kind of like let it go, and you tire yourself out after you scream. Generally, you might lose your voice a little. That's why you scream from the diaphragm. That's an accent. You just want to work with them. Eventually they will loosen up. Generally everyone's very frigid at the very beginning of the shoot, but then as the shoot progresses, it'll move on, more relaxed, more chill. You've probably made enough conversation by the end of the shoot to be like best buds, maybe, give or take. Yeah. Did that answer your question? Okay, I'm just making sure. I feel like I kind of go off on like a ramble at some point, but I am also very sleep-deprived. And I do that when I'm sleeping. Any other questions?
Any advice, I guess, on difficult poses? Like,
Difficult poses.
If it would be like worth it or not? Like, if maybe the pose, like, I guess, looks really good, but it may be difficult. Like,
so as long as you don't hurt anything, do it. So like, if you can't do the splits, maybe don't do the splits. I mean, you could just jump into it, but you might hurt your yep at the very end. But like, don't do a backflip out of a tree if you can't do a backflip. Or you might break something. Generally, you probably will break something. But like, if you want to like save for some sort of superhero, stick your leg out, do like kind of a crouch, kind of like this, and then like lean over to one leg and stretch your leg out. Set your elbow on your knee that you're putting your weight on, and then fist down. Very interesting kind of. Leaning in different, like, crazy, dramatic ways can be cool. If it's uncomfortable, it probably looks cool.
I didn't necessarily mean like uncomfortable, but like I've seen like some of those poses where like I'm not sure what the movie is, but where like a witch on a broom or whatever, and they like I guess they jump.
Oh, like the jumping in the air and like you look like you're flying. Those are a lot of fun, and if you can like actually land that pose, do it. It's cool.
Yeah.
So a friend of mine actually, you might be familiar with Yuri on Ice, you might not be. Thank you so much. There's a point in the show where they're like, oh yeah, you don't remember that party? You were really drunk and you started pole dancing. So we recreated that in a studio because they had like a pole in the middle of the studio that's like meant for dancing. But my friend is not a pole dancer at all. They're not that athletic. They're very muscular, mind you, but they're not that athletic. So I was like, okay, cool, sit on the stool. I'm gonna Photoshop the stool out. And everyone thinks they are actually pole dancing in that photo. It's actually pretty great. It's actually Ask Cosplay Senpai is part of a Cosplay Cosplayer, I think is their group name. They're the guys with the TARDIS in the dealer's room. Yeah, if you ask for Cosplay Senpai or Ace, ask them to show you that photo and they'll be like, just, alright, if you want to meet me after the panel, I can show you. It's okay to cheat, yes.
I guess that kind of leads into my next question. For things that I guess are high speed or that kind of want to convey motion,
Yes.
would it be better to either just do the motion slowly to get the picture clear, or to just have the model just do the motion and normal speed or maybe fast?
So, that goes into kind of shutter speed.
Yeah.
So if your model, if you want to go, so like you know a lot of advertisements for the Flash, they have the trail running behind them. Trail running behind them. That's a good way to. They're called speed lines, basically. They kind of show speed. You might see a picture of like a moving fast car or something. They use a slow shutter speed, and they for a very slow shutter speed, you're gonna need a tripod. Because if you move at all, that photo is gonna be so blurry, it's not even worth it. Sometimes it looks cool. And that's one of those, hey, we broke the rules kind of things. But generally, you want a tripod. You'll just have like a slow shutter speed going, have them start from point A to point B, and then you'll get those speed lines. Well, okay, you'll want to have them in point A when they first start, and then like do the motion, and then when the shutter goes off, like clicks, then you'll want to, at the very end, you'll want them to be like in their stop position. It's a good way, that's also how you get like those sparklers where they draw pictures with sparklers, stuff like that. That's the long exposure photos, the slow shutter speeds. Yes.
I was just gonna add, you can also do like a tracking shot.
Yeah.
Kind of where you like follow them with the camera, so everything in the background is blurred, so they're the next
Yeah. That's a good point. Yeah. You can also do that. I actually never thought of that. That's a good one. Yeah, just play with it. Google stuff. Never be afraid to Google anything. Even if you're on the job, just be like, alright, I'm gonna Google this real quick. Generally, it's for the better.
It was kind of like how you were talking about working with the models.
Yeah.
Being a photographer working with models, like if it would be better, like say it's a move where they do a spin, something simple like that. Like, would it be better for them to like just pose and spin and just take the picture manually? Or for them to just do the motion?
So, like, if it's like a really big skirt or something and you're just like having fun, what I do is I have my camera set on continuous shooting. So, like, when you hold down the shutter, it'll like keep taking pictures. That way, you'll generally get one good photo somewhere in there. If not, you can just have them do it again and just do it again. Pretty much. Or take a video and just get a still frame. That's the other easy way to do it.
When you're like doing a spin pose, how do you make your face stay the facial expression you want it?
So something I learned in dancing, actually, because I do a lot of things, is spotting. So whenever you're turning, this is how you don't get double spinning. So you find a spot, focus on it. So like say that speaker is going to be my spot. So you're to do it in slow motion. You're going to just kind of turn. But generally, if you know how to do it and practice it enough, so you'll want to find your facial expression that you want to have, and just kind of keep it and do the spotting thing as you turn around. Maybe practice a few times. Without even raising your hand, the person will do really opposite things. Yeah, so that's how you do spinning photos. Either don't have a question? I'm just like, oh yeah, making sure. Hi, how are you? You have to like just focus on on you, but I'm just. Do you have any questions about photography or posing in general?
Not really. I'm not that big of a cosplayer, so.
That's okay. I'll cover pretty much anything unless any of y'all need advice or anything like that. If not, we're just gonna go ahead and end this evening. Cool. Thank you so much for joining me for my panel.